I graded your orthographic drawings. I gave you good grades. I normally give good grades, but you need to be a bit more tidy with assignments and submissions, right? I mean, sometimes it feels like you're just dumping them on the sheets and not even caring and just sending me as a PDF just to like show you can do them, but that's actually the start of what you should be doing. Then there's like customizing the views, setting up styles, overriding visibility and settings, right? Like I saw a lot of weird stuff happening, like sections have different colors, elevations have different colors. I mean, I give comments as well, but let's say, let's not use colors for orthographic sets. Let's just keep them black and white in grayscale. I want you to use shadows though, like add really light shadows, add black pochets for cut elements. But for the rest, like simple things. If you are drawing something as a model line, you can override in visibility and graphics the color of the lines as well. Or if you want to take them out of your drawing, you should be able to filter them out as well. So let's say, for instance, this drawing, or let's go to another one. Trying to find one. First things first. Levels should be on the side of the elevation, so keep them close. You can take out the level signs or customize them as well. You can select these icons, go to edit type, symbol. You don't have to put symbols on both ends. You can enable one of them so that it's like on one side of the level line. Then the next thing is you can customize the line pattern, right? You can make it dashed out or just let's keep them dashed. Let's say, where's the dash? Dash 1/16 inch, and see like what looks best, right? This looks good, clean. I'm gonna hit OK. Normally these have 1/4 inch head. On the property type properties, you can select no head so that that sign is gone. So you just have a clean line, name of the level, and then the height of the level. And the next thing I want you to do is to move the elevation lines. You don't have to make it cross the whole drawing. You can just keep them on one side and extend the dash lines, right? So these could be, you can move where did it go? Yeah. So you can move these somewhere here. Yeah, so you keep them on one side, all aligned, so they don't, go over your drawing. Huh? Isn't this cleaner? You can do the same thing for grids, right? You can either place grids on top of your building or at the bottom of the building. Select your grid lines. Mine, let's see, my symbol has at none. You can choose one of the symbols. By default you have a circle, which is pretty big, but you could also load new annotations. So if you go all the way down on your project browser, under families, go to annotation symbols. The grid head labels will be there, the ones that are loaded as a family. Or you can simply go to, again, insert, load family, go to annotations and load grids. You could also do, let's see, type properties. You can go to load here as well, go to annotations. By default we are using the circle one, but you can use like no bubble version or square version. It's really up to you. If you want to customize these, you need to open these as an individual file, and then you can resize the squares, you can resize the text. Yeah.
What if it's a file and you have your grids in your other file? What do you do? Is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and you have your grids in your other file? Or is it just like a file and
then you can override on that file as well. They will be updated, no? When you like open the file, the link will be updated. You can go to the links, go to insert, manage links, and select the file here and right click and like update or reload, something like that. But these you could keep them. Let's go to edit type again. Let's try square. And let's see, do I want to have grid bubble, custom grid square? Where is my square? Scope box. Is that it? Gap, circle. Trying to bring back my circle. Okay, so this comes back. You can, if you go to edit type, select. You can select no bubble, and just keep like clean numbers. Okay, and then if you want to change the, let me see where the text is. I guess we need to update these guys. You can rename these, right? So from left to right, you can give them like G1, G2, G3. For one side, you can keep them the same number. Again, you can customize the line pattern. You can select the line. There's grid line 1.5 inch. I'm currently using. You can switch it to dash again. Dash, apply, hit OK. And you can also realign these outside of the drawing. Yeah. You have to edit the family directly, and I'm like, it's a bit tedious. I thought you'll be able to like prompt the family from here, but apparently you can't. I guess you have to open it. If you go to annotations, let's say grid head circle, you have to change it here. Open the family directly, either save it as a new family and use it. I guess it does it already. Like, let me see. I think it will do it already, like automatically. Let's try. Let's choose all of these. If you want to choose everything again, like all in one selection, you can just select all of them. Go to filter, check none, and just select grids. Hit apply, hit OK. You will have selected all the grids. Let me see, multiple types selected. You want to switch to, let's say 1/4, custom gap. Let's try changing the scale. 1/8 inch equals 1. Let's try 1/4. It changes it based on the scale. But don't forget, it's also going to change in your drawing, right? So if they're too big, you can override them directly by opening up the family, and you can go to Revit, open, family, annotations, grid head circle, just open it, and then you can just reduce the dimension here, right? You could just give it 1/8 inches. Go to Revit, family, open, family, annotations, grid head. Symbols are also families, like parts of families. And then let me see. It says remove constraints. Let's go to type properties. I guess you can overwrite them here. It's like built in with constraints. Let's say hit apply. Why doesn't it change? Yeah. Same location? What do you mean? Align it? Let's see. So you want to bring in something else and line them up? Oh, same location with this? So can we do, let's see. If I do duplicate. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Nope. It's a good question. Let's create a new one. So I'm going to bring level 3 to this one. Let's do level 2. Let's change the scale. 1 over 8. Let's try this guy. Still doesn't fit. Let's try 1 over 16. So you want this to be the same location. Let me look it up. I mean, I'm not sure if it's possible, because it doesn't even allow me to duplicate the sheet and replace the view, which you will probably do it practically. Yeah. But maybe we could, like, I'm just thinking, let's say, can we include some, we can't even draw monolines here. Yeah, it doesn't even allow me to align. Size crop. You can enter numbers if you activate. Nope. I have to look it up. Probably there's a trick for it. Yeah. Style, and then I think so. That's also a good one. Let's see. So let's say I created some visibility settings for the section, right? I come in here. I don't want to see some stuff. Let's say I don't want to see model lines. I can deselect them. Where are the model lines? If you go to lines, any other custom lines you don't want to see, you can uncheck this, and they will be taken out of that drawing. Halftones, patterns, you can all apply them here, like the way I did pochette to walls and floors. And then if you come in here, if you go to, let's see, filters. Is it on the view? View templates. Let's say section. Section. Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. There's also another way to, I think, do it here. The object styles. You can create line weights here as well. And then create a name for it. Let me see. How about this? How about I create the template and I send it to you guys and you just apply it? Is that better? For like plans, sections, and elevations. So that you don't have to like basically do the work. Yeah, I mean, so you just like basically will come in here and choose go to view templates, apply template, and then select the one that I give you for section, elevation, and plan. So that everybody's will be consistent. Because I mean, you can create your own view style or setting, but I mean, if you're gonna have a pinup, everybody's has like different colors and. Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You can do the same thing to graphic display overrides as well. So like, I'm turning on shadows. You can set up lights and shadow angles. And apparently you can also save this, right? Yeah.
How do you do shadows? You mentioned class.
For elevations?
Well, yeah, for elevations, just the shadows like the windows instead of the facade.
You just you do it on the graphic display options. Go to edit, shadows, cast shadows, turn it on, hit apply. It will just bring in shadows to the drawing. And if you're not like happy with the angle, you could override the lighting direction. Sun setting, go to in session. You can change these angles and direction. Let's try top left.
Can you like select the roof and say do not cast shadow?
Let me see. Why would you want to do that? Yeah, you guys are asking really specific questions. One thing though, like one thing I want you to do though is to customize the topo fill, right? So give it like a light gray poche, and you can also customize the placement of this. Yeah.
For some reason, when I was trying to do the crochet on the topo, it wouldn't show even when I gone in and changed.
So did you give the topo a material? Yeah.
And did the pattern crochet and then when I changed it.
So for my file, I have grass material, and when I go to its properties, the grass material has a cut pattern associated to it. It has a solid fill and a light gray, right? This is where I applied it. Yeah. You could also do it here, do the override. if you go to masking and site, model site, click on this arrow, choose section cut material, choose the material, right? Mine is grass, so the section cut material will use the material properties of that material.
Also, when I was trying to change the floor patterns, it would show up on the second, third, all the floors above the second floor, but on the first floor, it wouldn't show the pattern no matter what I did with the floor.
Okay, I'll look at your file when I'm walking around. Okay, let's start on looking at some of the other stuff, like materials. So we're going to start with materials today. Actually, yeah, let's go to Manage tab, go to Materials Editor. Yeah, sure. Room what?
Like when you have the floor parts, they would have, each part would have its own material, surface pattern. But then for the room, when you create a room, you do the shade for the room. Is there any way to have both? It seems to have both. Either one or the other.
So you're doing the floor pattern through the parts, but you also want to create a room.
Like yeah, right. Like the room crochet itself.
So you want to have this as a fill?
Right. And the idea was to differentiate unit types by color.
Oh,
As well as have their floor patterns.
let me see. How would I go about doing that? No, I understand what you mean. It's you want to create like a light fill, and maybe even associated to the group as well, and just use it like as a color filter. I mean, you can create these regions, but then they don't collide with they don't interact with the furniture as well as you want them to, which is the problem. Like if I create a fill here, it just overlaps with the furniture, and this is something you actually want to do. Let me look that up as well. Okay, I'll look them up and try to find a solution, because I saw in your file you had colors as well as the pattern. Let's see. Okay, let's go to Manage Materials. So one thing to know in the Material Editor tab in Revit, one important aspect is Revit has a built-in library called Assets, where all the material, there are like tons of materials that are available here, and they all have their own properties, categories, as well as different types of settings, right? And for each material in Revit, let's say we go here, you click here and do create new material. Let's rename this. Let's say my custom material 1. Under the material, each material there are different tabs. There's an identity tab where you can write information, choose a class for this material. So there are different types of classes as well. Like if you're creating a new carpet or a new metal finish, wood, anything like that, you can categorize them. As well as there are different types of graphic settings. This is for orthographic views of the material. And we also have different layers here that we could add. If you click on this plus sign, you can add an appearance layer, physical layer, and thermal layer to it. So these are basically, let's say we want to add another thermal layer to this. The thermal layer, you can bring in a thermal asset that stores the material properties, the thermal properties of that material, let's say wood, and then you can use those for analysis in Autodesk Inventor or other types of analysis programs. I mean, these are pretty kind of advanced and in-depth, but you'll be mostly looking at the appearance tab 4 materials. And for the appearance, you can go in and customize your material here. Like you can load in a texture here. Let's actually start customizing this. So I'm going to let's download wood texture. So let's find a good wood texture. Let's say we want to use this guy. I'm going to do save image, desktop, save. And I'm going to come in here, go to image, click on the link, go to desktop, and choose my wood texture. If you want to change the alignment, it's actually not a good texture. Do you guys see these lines? So you want to find a texture that is seamless when it repeats. So let's say we Google something else. Let's say texture. Let's type in continuous. One of these should work. Let's try. Well, this is cut here as well. Let's try this one. I'm going to click on this link here again and go to W texture. Now it already shows me when you click on the image, it prompts this image editor and it shows you the basic mapping. So right now it's going to map this image as 1 foot by 1 foot. Oh. Huh? This one? Yeah. It's a link. It's on the desktop. It's reading through that image. So create a new material by going here, create new material. Under the appearance tab of that material, go to image, click on this link, and then select the file. And then it gets loaded here basically, right? Sorry, you gotta click here to the text. Click on this text, select the file, and then if you click on the image, you'll be able to override some of the properties. So by now, the sample size is 1 foot by 1 foot. And if you look at here, we have, it's not going to be 1 foot by 1 foot, right? Because we have quite some elements here. So let's say it's going to be 6 feet by 6 feet. So I'm going to define it as the scale of my pattern. You can also give it a rotation. Let's say I'm going to keep it at 0. I'm going to tile. Hit done. Now this already creates kind of appearance for this material. You can also give it a bump material. So for the bump, you need Good question. Let's delete it. It's missing, right? So you need to keep it as linked. Let's bring it back. Let's go to material. It's loaded back in, okay? Now, to create a bump material, you need also an alpha channel. The alpha channel has to be black and white. The easiest way to do it is to open the file you have as a texture. If you're creating a custom texture, open it in Photoshop, make it black and white, and amplify the contrast, brightness and contrast, so that you can use it as bump. So I'm going to come in Photoshop, go to image, mode, grayscale. And then I'm going to hit Control L for levels. You can basically play around with the levels. So black would be would stay as negative, white would stay as positive, right? So all the blacks are going to produce grooves when I use this file as a bump map. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to do file save as wtexture bump. And then come back to Revit, Materials, Appearance, Bump Image. I'm going to hit check to bump, and it's going to prompt me to choose an image. I'm going to choose the bump. Hit apply. And we can specify the amount here as well. So let's say something like this. Let me see if is there a way to make this larger?
Can you expand the width of
The
the boards?
boards?
Like, the width boards, can you go from 4 inches to 10 inches to make them wider planes?
Well, I'm changing the size of this map, if that's what you're asking. Basically, you can specify how you want this to be mapped, or what the size of that tile is, right? So when you apply it, like when I apply this mapping to a 6 foot by 6 foot wall, there's going to be one texture map on it, right? But if I make it 12 feet, there are going to be two side by side. Make sense? I'm specifying a sample size for it here.
Will it be a seam? Like, if you've got your 6 by 6 and you're adding another one, will there be a seam?
Well, that's what I was talking about. The texture map is important in that case. So that you want to create like a seamless texture, you want to find a good texture map for it. I just downloaded this off the internet. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but I'll make a brick one, and the brick one will be continuous. We will also look into that one, okay? So I'm going to hit OK, and then let's try to apply this somewhere. So I'm going to come to like create a 3D view. So remember, my units were in groups. So what I'm going to do is select one of the specific walls of a unit and override its properties. So I'm going to come in here, let's say this unit. I'm going to choose the unit, go to Edit Group, choose this wall, go to Edit Type. I'm going to duplicate this and rename it as generic 8-inch wood. Hit OK. And I'm going to go to Structure, go to Edit. By default, my structure doesn't have any material added to it, so I'm going to click on this link and choose my custom material. Hit OK. Hit OK. Hit OK. And then finish. Now, I basically override that exterior wall of the group. So each unit with that wall has been overwritten, right? Because I changed the material for that. Okay? So the other thing we may want to do is also to change the graphic representation of this in a 2D viewport, like an elevation. So if I go to an elevation view, like let's say the south elevation, I think that unit was somewhere here, but right now there's no fill associated to that material. So what I want to do is go to Materials, choose that material, and on the graphic options, give it a surface pattern so that we can also use this for its for the way it's going to be displayed in elevation, right? So the surface pattern I want is vertical lines, or you can do horizontal small as well, and then go to Edit, change the direction and spacing of these lines. Let's start with the vertical. So I go vertical, say vertical small, hit OK. I'm going to do apply. and hit OK, and that will be used as a graphic representation for the material, right? So I'm controlling both how it's going to be presented in 2D and how it's going to be represented in 3D through the material. You can also control how it's going to be represented in section, but for my sections I had a visibility and graphic override, which is basically adding a black poche to my walls, so I don't need to give it any cut pattern here. Alright, so let's make another one. Let's create brick. I'll go to brick. Brick texture. Let's find a good brick texture. You don't need to find something too dense. Like this should work, for instance. So I'm going to come in here, go to materials again, create new material, rename my brick. Under appearance, you could also override this with an existing material and change its properties. So as I said, we have an assets library where you can bring in or import any kind of already built-in material in the library to use in your project. You can go here, choose replace this asset, and from here you can search for brick, and you can find the brick material options under Revit library. And let's say we want to start with under masonry, you can choose, let's say, cord or uniform soldier. Let's start with cord. I'm going to double click, and now this material has an asset that I've imported from the library. It gets the bump material, the texture as well. But again, you can customize these, right? So if I go to edit here, where is it? If I go to edit, it has an image link here, so I can change the texture map. So these are all the texture maps that are already built in Revit that we could use, right? Or you can use the one that we have just downloaded in our desktop, the brick. But the material that I just imported as an asset, it already has a bump material, bump map associated to it, but we can override as well. So I'm going to select this guy instead, choose this, and let's say we want to use, let's see, this is like 3 feet by 3 feet. You can unlock the proportion relationship there. Gonna hit done. Now the bump map doesn't correlate to the texture map, so I'm going to unselect this one. If you go to graphics, this doesn't have a surface pattern, so you may want to create one as well. So you can go to pattern, and you don't want to choose, you can't find brick under the drafting pattern types. You need to switch to model, and the brick would be there. So we have brick here. I'm going to choose OK. Hit OK. Now let's give this to another unit. So let's select, bless you. So let's come in here, edit group, choose this wall, go to edit type. Now if I override directly to generic 8 inches, all the walls that have generic 8 inches will have that property that I'm creating, right? So that's why I'm duplicating this in order to customize it. So let me show you what I mean. If I go to structure, and by category I create here my brick, I choose my brick, hit OK, hit OK, hit apply. Now all the walls that use generic 8 inches will have brick material associated to them, right? And this is something we may not want. to do finish. Let's see if it's taking effect in elevation as well. Go to south elevation, and the brick is there. Right? This is the brick wall. This is the wood wall. Now, I actually want to see a bit more of the building, so I'm going to go to right click and choose, where is it? Find referring views. Let's open this on entrance level. My elevation is drawn on this line. I'm going to move it somewhere close to my facade. That's normally how elevations are drawn, right? So there's a line where you cut and then look at the building. Okay, so let's create some materials. Go to the Manage tab, Materials. Create new material. Click on Create New Material. Create some material here. Rename. Let's say default yellow. Again, you can bring in an asset. Like let's say in this case, I want to bring maybe a paint. You can start with an existing paint material and then override its color properties. So in this case, our wall paint is black, but maybe we want to make it yellow. So I can keep, you can use assets as well to start with something that is already built in and override its properties or customize its properties. Again, I'm doing this in the appearance level, which is basically what we are going to see in rendering view. But if you want to also see some of its properties, you have to override the graphics, right? So give it a surface color or pattern, or a cut pattern as well. You can do those customizations here, like the way I did the grass. So if I go to grass, my grass is a cut pattern that I associated here, right? It has a solid fill and a color given to it. That's why every section or elevation view where I cut my topography, which has the grass material, I see that light gray. Okay? So you want material here as well?
Yes.
So you should apply the material there too.
But you can do that with the side of the floor, or
Yes, you can. Let's see if we can do that. So I'm gonna go to. I don't think you can do it here. If you want to apply it direct to the side, you can do it using the paint. You can go to Modify. Applies the material to the face of an element. And the material I want to apply is brick. Now it gets brick, right?
it doesn't change the floor.
No, it just applies it to that face, right?
That's going to change it in 3D too, right?
Huh?
In the 3D.
Yes, it will. Let's check that as well. Yeah, only these faces though, right? These floor lines for elevation drawings, you have to join the elements. So you go to Modify, Join, and you choose the floor slab and the wall, and then you can join those elements. And you can also then do alignment to the texture pattern. So if I type in AL for a line, you can also align these lines, right? So this line is going to align with this one. So I'm going to choose this and this, and it's going to align the pattern. Now, of course, the problem is my texture for the floor slab, it's 1 foot, right? So in order to align it, I need to shift the brick at the bottom. So let me see if I can do that somewhere. So I can choose this line. doesn't allow me to move it actually. Let me see. Okay, maybe we have to edit the group. Let's see. Okay, you can actually do it. You just go to the edit group and then select this line to align and then select the fill course pattern. Then hit finish. And they'll be aligned. Okay? If you have like uneven surface patterns like that, you can do alignment to the surface lines as well. Yeah, the align tool under modify, align. Right, so mine are shifted. Actually, that's a good exercise. Let's do that. Everybody creates a brick pattern, and then you basically apply it to one of your groups or to the surfaces, and then resolve the intersections on the surfaces. Let's see. So create some materials, and then I'm going to, I think we went through how to set up a camera, but I'm going to go to create, view, 3D view camera, and then I'm going to take a rendering here from here, looking at the building. And then once you create a camera, it just creates a new viewport for it. Let's rename this as view 1. And then I'm going to select the border of this image. It's like a nice perspective. If you want to align it again, you can use Shift right click to rotate the camera. You should align the vertical lines to the side of the image. I have some furniture floating here, so what I'm going to do is select them, and I'm going to do hide in view by category, so all of those elements will be hidden. I'm going to do the same thing to the model lines that I see here. I'm going to select one of them, right click, hide in view by category, so all the model lines will be hidden, right? So I can only see what I want to see. Now the next thing I'm going to do is switch to realistic view under graphic display options, so that it applies the basic material properties to the image. And then I'm going to go to graphic display options. And here you can also enable some of the features of the image. So let's say we can cast shadows to see the direction of the sun. Lighting, we can also override it here. I'm going to use it through the sun settings. Sketchy lines. But let's say we want to set up a background. So you go to background. You can set up a sky. You can set up a gradient with given colors, or you can use an image. So let's find a sky background. Nothing too fancy. Let's say we want to use something like this. Well, it's low resolution. Let's go to search tools. Let's use this guy. Background. And then you can switch to image, customize image, and use the image. I just downloaded. I think it put it in downloads folder. No, it's in desktop. Let's go to customize image, image, background. Hit OK. Apply. Now I have my background. You can also stretch it here by overriding the width and height. I think it also changes the way it's cropped based on your viewport properties. So if I push this down, you'll start seeing a little bit of the grass. But I'm going to keep it somewhere around the horizon, so it's something like this. Now the next thing I want to set up is a sun. So I go here, sun settings. Now we could enter these values manually to kind of give a direction for the sun, or you could do a single day study. Choose a location using the map. I have Boston, but let's say Atlanta. So I switched to Atlanta, and then we could do any time of the day, any time of the year, and any time of the day, right? Time interval 1 hour. Well, you could also do 1 day solar study. These are already preset kind of dates and time frames to kind of, if you want to see like how the building responds to those sun directions or angles. But I'm going to do just single day. Choose any angle. And then I'm going to do apply. Let's see which way the sun comes in. The sun comes in through here. I'm going to hit OK. Now the next thing, let's see. If I go to if you go to view, render is here. If you click on this arrow, it will prompt the again visibility and graphics option. Let me see. You could also include silhouettes in your rendering. If you go to model display and you say edit new, let's say we want to edit say render lines, and I want to choose this as, let's say, yellow. And then silhouettes, you want to choose render lines, hit apply. Now all the lines we see will be highlighted with that color. So it's kind of the wireframe option in Rhino, if you guys remember that tool. So every silhouette edge that you see could have a color. Huh? I clicked under Edit New, or you can already select one of these. You can choose none to take them out, but I clicked on Edit New. These are all the model lines in the Revit file, and then created a new one. Gave it a line color. You can also give it a line weight. Gonna hit OK. Now if you go to render, you get the render viewport. Quality is set here. If you go to edit, you can basically customize it here, but basically if you go to high, some of these settings are already like preset to save time. Let me see what else. Adjust exposure. Now we haven't set up any interior lighting. We just have the exterior. Maybe we can do it tomorrow. We will set up some lights as well and use both of them so that there's like both sun and the interior lights in the model are used. Let's see, where do we set up the resolution? We could do region. You can first render a region by enabling region. It's a bit slow. So you can render part of the model first before you rendered everything. Let's see. It looks fine in the image. I just want to increase the resolution. Let me see where it is located. If I go to best, take out the region. Let's see what we get. You can change the resolution here on the printer DPI, dots per inch.